Yeah. No, no. Yeah. Tony Braxton. For you. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Maria Canales-Bennett, and I am the First Lady of Professional Wrestling. And I'm gonna need you to subscribe to Just Alyx YouTube channel because, well, it's wrestling reviews. So make sure you like the video and click the bell. Thank you so much. Peace, friends.
Hello all, and welcome to Alyx's World, a safe space for wrestling fans like you. I am your host Alyx, and you are watching my very late night review of AEW Dynamite live in Houston, Texas. Come on in, have a seat, get your late night coffee, and relax to the soothing sounds of my voice. The late night review is here. Maybe I should do the entire review like that. No, I'm not going to do the entire review like that. I'm just messing with y'all. Hey, thank you for joining me. The review is a lot later than usual. Again, because I was there live at the event. We got to watch both Dynamite and then Rampage afterwards, the taping of Rampage. I left after seeing Mystico versus Rocky Romero because I knew there's nothing on this card that's going to follow that. I'm not going to spoil what happened in the match, who won. I'm just going to say, overall, that was the best match of the entire event. Because I got to sit through Dynamite and Rampage. If you thought anything on Dynamite was good to great, none of it was even close to being as good as Mystico versus Rocky Romero. So, if that's a match you're looking forward to when it comes to Rampage this week, you are going to be very surprised, heavily satisfied. Hopefully. Because I thought the match was outstanding. Thought it was a great match. But that's Rampage. You want my thoughts on Dynamite. I do want to talk about my overall experience there. Being live, being in the crowd, being in that atmosphere. It was getting kind of bleak there for a minute. Because just a couple of days ago, the tickets were not selling very well. Which is telling. Unlike other cities, Houston, Texas in general, is a massive market for wrestling. Most of the best wrestling fans, no offense to Chicago or New York, Brooklyn, Seattle, Philadelphia, and the UK, of course. Texas has a long history, a long legacy of wrestling legends. And I'm not just talking about the Von Erichs. I'm not just talking about Dusty Rhodes. I'm talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Eddie Guerrero. Freaking Mark Henry came from here. Freaking Booker T. Can you dig it, sucker? This is a state that has wrestling all over it. It is in its roots. And they were struggling to sell a lot of tickets. Like, this should have been one of the easiest markets to sell. Now, about 24 hours before today, either yesterday or sometime before, the ticket sales dropped. And the lowest price ticket was $20. When that happened, the numbers jumped up, and they were able to get a good 5,000 people in the Epicenter, which is good. Is it their best numbers? No. I was kind of looking at the card before the show. To be honest with you, well, I don't want to oversell the card. But you had Kenny Omega, You had Sting. You had some people on here that could have easily done a good 7,000, 8,000. Probably 10. This is Kenny Omega's, what? When was the last time he had a singles match on TV? Very rare first time singles match on television. I think the last one was El Hijo del Vikingo, right? 5-star match. I could be wrong, but you know, you got to see Kenny Omega in action. You had Penta El Zero Miedo. It wasn't like it was a bunch of nobodies. MJF was on the show. They even had the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal in there, which was an interesting choice to be main event. We'll get to that in a second. And, you know, it's one of those things where people are going to look at me and say that I'm beating too hard. I'm beating too hard on AEW. You need to, you know, understand that there are some hot and cold periods. Okay, you're right. This is clearly a cold period for AEW. Clearly. Again, people need to understand that when I say what I say and I come across critical or I nitpick or call out AEW for things that I don't like or I feel like doesn't make any sense, I'm not doing it so they can fail. Okay, this is different. This isn't me ranting on the WWE because their product sucks, because Vince McMahon was out of touch, and every single week my intelligence was insulted. That's not what this is. All right, that's not what I'm doing here with AEW. What I'm doing with AEW is this idea that they can be so much better than what they are, and they have the resources and the tools to make it better. Tonight's episode of Dynamite, for me, watching live, I wasn't watching at home with commentary, completely different experience. As a matter of fact, it should be better live, because you get to be in the atmosphere. By the time the show had ended, Dynamite, and I'm not talking about Rampage. By the time the show ended, my overall feeling of it was, And that's different. I remember when they came to Houston in 2021. The main event was Chris Jericho versus MJF. And we had to serenade Chris Jericho to the ring with his theme song without the music. One of the best moments in Dynamite history. That entire show was phenomenal. Great. 2021 was a great year for AEW, of course. The very next year, it was a Dynamite. Either it was right before Double or Nothing or before Double or Nothing that had CM Punk, Hangman Page. It had the tournament, the Owen Hart tournament with Samoa Joe and Konosuke Takeshita. And the main event was Adam Cole versus Jeff Hardy. Like, come on. I had a great time with that show. And I was like, man, I can't wait for him to come back. This is the first show. When I left, I was like, all right. Now, I'm not going to complain. I got a good ticket for it. I'm happy I was there. I got into the show. And I'm the type of person, when I go to a wrestling show, I get into it. I sell what I'm seeing. I see a bad guy, I boo him. I see a good guy, I cheer. Someone goes to the top rope, does the 10 punches, I go 1, 2, 3, I count it. When someone hits the mat, I go, oh. When someone's getting pinned, 1, 2, oh. I get into all that. I love that. That's me showing the respect and the love for the performers. I can do all that while still come home and go, that show was all right. The show to me was serviceable. It was all right. Maybe it would have been different staying home and watching it. I just feel like it was a nice episode filled with good wrestling. Penta El Zero Miedo. I hate saying that name. Pentagon Jr. That's why I'm used to calling him from Lucha Underground. Pentagon Jr. versus Jay White. Good match. Omega versus Kyle Fletcher. Good match. Hikaru Shida versus Emi Sakura. Really good match. These are good matches. The main event. Kind of wish they would have ended with Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher. Would have felt more well-rounded, but I just feel like the problem with AEW now, and I'm being real with you, because this is coming from someone who was there. A lot of the people they have on television right now and the stories they're telling, are they competent? Yes. Are the wrestlers good inside the ring? Yes. Do the stories make sense? Yes. But they have no sizzle to them. There's no bite to it. It's just, the best way I can describe AEW right now, and the best word I can use, is filler. It feels like filler. Last week's episode had Swerve Strickland, Bryan Dent. Well, they were going head to head with NXT, so of course it felt a lot more important. You had Edge in the main event. You had Paige Saraya drop the bet to Hikaru Shida. You crowned a new AEW International Champion. So a lot happened last week. So that show, to me, again, I thought AEW had the better wrestling show last week, and NXT won because of the star power. But in terms of quality, show quality, AEW was the better show. But we already knew that NXT was going to win because that was their night, and AEW was on a different night than what they usually are. This week, I expect the ratings to be up. Hopefully, they'll be up. That show last week was more of what I was expecting this week. I didn't get that show this week. We got good wrestling with moderate storytelling, and the stories that they're working with right now, I just don't care about. I don't care about MJF versus the Bullet Club. I don't care. I don't care about seeing MJF versus Jay White. You know what I do care about? MJF versus Wardlow. They teased that. Wardlow came out and literally beat Ryan Nemeth with one powerbomb. And then afterwards, he showed MJF written on his wrist. And I tweeted on Twitter, I said, now that could be a main event for Full Gear, and I would be excited for that. Because there's a story there. There's a built-in story. They have a history. And ever since, Wardlow beat MJF, I've been kind of waiting on them to follow up on that. He's just been kind of floundering. He won a championship, great, but he hasn't really done much since then. This is the feud that we've been waiting for. They teased him and Kenny Omega. When he came face to face with Kenny Omega, that was the one that really highlighted to me that this feud with him and Jay White just ain't it. Because I'm like, you could be facing Kenny Omega. You could be facing Wardlow. You could be facing Samoa Joe again, and I would be fine with that. But you're fighting Jay White. Why? Why? Is Jay White competent? Yes. Does this storyline with him and MJF make sense? Sure. Fine. Will the match at Full Gear be a great match? I'm pretty sure it will be. I don't care. Because I know there's no way in hell Jay White is beating him for that championship. I have yet to believe that Jay White stands a goddamn chance of beating MJF for that title. It feels like filler. And it comes across as filler. This feud with Kenny Omega and the Don Callis family, you would think I'd be all over that. That feels like filler. I don't really care much about Kenny Omega versus Konosuke or whatever henchman that Don Callis has him going up against. Powerhouse Hobbs, that interests me. I love what they did with him last week, having him absolutely destroy Chris Jericho. I want to see what they do with that. Now, that's a story I look forward to, but that wasn't the main focus of this episode. These random matches that they're just throwing together. I feel bad for the women because it feels like they're getting less and less and less TV time. I just saw Raw put all kind of women, numerous stories. We're going from Raw having the main championship storyline involving Rhea Ripley, Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, of course, Zoe Stark, and then Shayna Baszler. The mid-card NXT division, Becky Lynch, having all these feuds on 2 shows. The main show including Indy Hartwell, Xia Li, and they're teasing Jade Cargill, while we also have the women's tag team titles have a feud and storyline with Natalya and Tegan Nox going after those titles, and also the Kaden and Casey on the background. So you see that there's a division. There's divisions in the division. There are layers to this, and then you watch NXT and you see the same thing. You got multiple matches going on with different women. You have a tournament. You have a tag team feud here. JC Jane and Thea Hale and their stuff. And then you got the women's NXT women's title, which is Becky Lynch and whoever she's getting ready to face. You know, and you look at what's happening with AEW. Like Hikaru Shida. Okay. But what are we doing with the rest of the women? I just saw that Serena Deeb was backstage on Collision. You know, TBS Championship, you have Chris Statlander having matches, and the matches are really good, but what's the story? Where's the investment? All it is just matches. Everything feels like filler. And because of that, it's the reason why I think AEW is very cold right now. There were people that I was sitting next to at the event. And it's one of the biggest pet peeves I don't like. There are these people who buy these tickets who just sit on their hands. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to these shows and you have to get into it. You can get into it when you want to get into it. That's fine. It's your right. You buy a ticket. What I don't like about these particular type of people is that they come, they sit there, and they react to nothing. Nothing. Like, what are you doing here? And then they have the gall to look back at people like me, like I'm crazy, because I'm getting into the show, and they're like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Why are you here? But in this instance, there were periods throughout the show where they were acting to nothing. I'm just like, well, you're not really giving these people a reason to react to your show. And as soon as Dynamite went off the air, they got up and left. I remember a point in time with AEW where all their shows were must-see. Even the shows that were, you know, quote-unquote filler, or just the standard shows where, all right, we'll just continue to build the storylines. You still watched it because you knew, all right, we were going to get some great wrestling on this show. It doesn't even feel like we're getting that anymore. It just kind of feels like we've hit a period with AEW where things just feel, they flatline. There's nothing compelling to it. There's no bite. Like, in all honesty, I feel like I can miss next week's episode and we'll be okay. Like, if I stopped reviewing AEW Dynamite until Full Gear, I don't think I would miss anything. Because nothing's happening. I shouldn't feel like that. I shouldn't feel the need to be okay to miss Dynamite. I haven't been watching Collision since CM Punk left. Since he got fired, I haven't watched a single episode of Collision. I watched some clips. I don't feel bad about it. And I think that's the problem. I think it's the problem now with AEW, where they're just going through the motions. You have stories that I'm interested in. I'm interested in seeing what Adam Copeland does with Christian. I want to see what they do with Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page, because that's compelling too. Of course, with Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr., we're going to continue that story. That's great. I want to see MJF versus Wardlow. I want to see MJF versus Kenny Omega. I want to see MJF versus Samoa Joe. There are opponents that can replace Adam Cole, who currently is out with injury. And I think also losing CM Punk, yes, that hurt. But what also hurt them was losing Adam Cole. Adam Cole being gone, I think, put an even bigger hole in the company and in the overall shows, because that was their main storyline. Their main feud was Adam Cole and MJF. Well, that's now in the back burner because Adam Cole got hurt. Unfortunately. He broke his ankle. He's got to get surgery. I saw Kevin Owens talk about, my friend Adam had his surgery and he's recovering from it. I don't know if he was talking about Adam Cole. Hopefully he was. But if he wasn't, okay. But he still needs to get surgery. And apparently, he needs more than one surgery. And if that's true, he's going to be out for a very long time. He's going to be out probably longer than we expected. And that sucks because that was the driving force of Dynamite. Adam Cole and MJF. That's now gone. So now you need to have something to replace it. And now that we're not getting Adam Cole and MJF, which was sucky, it sucks. What's the whole point of those ROH tag team titles? Now everything that had weight lost weight. It's a series of unfortunate events that just make things not very fun and it just make things feel like filler. And it sucks. Because I feel like, here's what I feel like. Imagine if they still had CM Punk and they still had Adam Cole. I feel like this show would have been so much more fun. Because I feel like we would have had a lot more storylines going into it. And then, of course, if they wasn't doing Adam Cole and MJF, they could have been doing CM Punk and MJF. Which is a feud we have yet to get to. I feel like if we had gotten to that feud, man, you couldn't get me to buy a ticket faster. So they're stuck in this down period where they have to find new ways to connect, new stories to tell. And you're doing it without the main storytellers. Like, I even thought about like the lack of star power on the show. You didn't have Jon Moxley. You didn't have Bryan Danielson. You didn't have Keith Lee. You didn't have Swerve. You didn't have the Young Bucks. You didn't have a lot of the people that usually appear. You didn't have Jungle Boy Jack Perry. You didn't have Luchasaurus. Well, you did have Luchasaurus. He was on the show. You had Darby Allin on the show. But like there used to be a time where it was jam-packed with major names. Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker. You had Sting. You had Kenny Omega. You had MJF. Those three are very strong house names. But then you have this other card filled with people like Emi Sakura and again Bullet Club Gold and all these other people who are trying to establish themselves, but they aren't house names. Nick Wayne is not a house name. Will it take time to establish them? Sure. But that time is not today. So, from a live experience standpoint, I went there to have a good time, and I made sure I had a good time. But, for the fans that came out of it feeling like it was an okay show, it was serviceable, yeah, I agree. It wasn't a terrible show. I'm not going to say that. But it wasn't a show that left me going, God, I gotta come back next year. Nah, it was just a show, hey, you know what? I spent $40 on it. That's cool. AEW is cold right now. It's cold. Does that mean the show is a failure? No, it's not a failure. You're going to go through ebbs and flows. AEW right now is going through its ebb. It's hit a down period, and it's trying to find a way to get the momentum back. Hopefully it does. But it was lacking tonight. It was lacking. It was not the AEW quality episode I expected. I'm used to, you know? But I went. I had a good time. Crowd was awesome. Crowd was the best part of the entire show. And of course, Mystico and Rocky Romero. But that's just me. Let me know how it came across on TV. Maybe I would have had a better time sitting home and watching. I don't know. But you came to watch my review. I gave you my thoughts. I thought the show was lacking. But it was still fun. It didn't meet the standard of AEW that I'm used to. The standard used to be a lot higher. It wasn't meeting that. And I'm going to call it out. Because it needs to be called out. You deserve to have that standard met. So do the fans that spend money on it. But anyways. Let's talk about it. We're going to go ahead and review the show. Let me do the shout outs. Let me say hello to everybody. Let me get to the sponsorship. And then I'm just going to go through the show. And I don't really need to look at my notes. I just remember it. I was there live. But thank you all for joining me. If this is the first time you're watching me, do me a solid favor. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. While you're at it, help expand the brand by doing the following things. Join the membership. Click that join button and get the opportunity to request a video of your choosing, whether it's a live reaction, a hot topic, or review, past, present, or future. Also, don't forget to, give thanks. Hit that super thanks. If you would like to donate after the fact, you can. Also, like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter at just Alyx Central. Give me a follow on Instagram, give me a follow on Spotify, and give me a follow on TikTok. For I am the tickest of the talkest. Donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, Venmo, and yes, Super Chats are officially on. You can donate at any point in time during the broadcast to get your thoughts played live on the air. Email me at justalyxsworld@gmail.com for business inquiries just to say hi and please get yourself a t-shirt today at Pro Wrestling Tees and Teespring. Get you an old school Deluxe Man t-shirt. Get you a new school Alyx's World t-shirt. But most importantly, get you a blonde hair, blue eyes, apple pie. My America. The remix. The remix. T-shirt made by It's Jay Knox and Firestar Heart. All this down below in the description box. Today's sponsor is SeatGeek. I got my wrestling ticket for AEW tonight using SeatGeek. $20 off. So, what was originally a $60 ticket, because I bought my tickets when the prices were still high, right? So, I was able to knock that down $20. And I got it for $40. I know, because I used my own promo code. Now, it should be said that the promo code, when you use it the first time for a ticket price that goes over $50, by the way, it has to go over $50. It's $20 the first time. But if you continue to use it, it's $10. So I can still use it and get $10 knocked off of it. But that's how I got my first ticket. This ticket was with the promo code JustAlex. So you can use this promo code for whatever ticket if you use the SeatGeek app to purchase your tickets. Something to think about in the future. But for more details, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. And then we'll get to some shout out. Today's video is sponsored by SeatGeek. If you're a wrestling fan looking for access to great seats for any wrestling event near you, then you want to use this app. With over 28 million downloads, SeatGeek stands as the unrivaled #1 ticketing app in the market today. SeatGeek constantly delivers incredible deals on ticket prices. When you're exploring the app, keep an eye out for the special green dots that mark the best deals. What's even better is that every ticket you purchase is backed by SeatGeek's buyer guarantee, with the option to return your tickets and even swap them before the events. So here's an exclusive for you. If you click the link down below and use the promo code JustAlex, you can get $20 off your first purchase. Yes, $20 off any ticket that you purchase using the promo code JustAlex. This is a sweet deal that you could use literally right now. So don't wait. Click the link, download the app, and join the SeatGeek family today. All right, thank you guys so much for being here. Please be sure you check out the description box for more details. If you were here early for the countdown, the 15-minute countdown, you were able to see and listen to artists who donated their song for the stream. Please show them some love. If there's a particular song you yourself liked, check them out on Spotify. Also, while you're here, show some love to the moderators. Ultra, Shawn Knight 75 Star Heart, Elias, Ademi, New Japan Pro Wrestling Girl, Khalil does everything, and Big MGM, because they help keep this a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Also, be sure you like the video. It is imperative that you hit that like button, because the more you like the video, the more opportunities I will be given to be recommended here on YouTube. So help boost that algorithm by hitting that like button. My Tony Khan video is catching a lot of attention when I reacted to his interview with Dan Le Batard, and then someone told me that it's Le Batard. There's no Le Batard, it's Le Batard, all in one. Dan Le Batard. And I said the non-answers were just not good. And that's catching a lot of attention. It's currently getting a lot of views, and I expect that to get a lot more views than it has now, which I am all for. Love it. Again, when I rant on AEW, it's not coming from a place of hate. It comes from a place of, I know how good you can be, and this isn't it. And I'm hoping they can get back there. You know. And Tony Khan was on his best behavior tonight. He didn't go crazy, and I've been watching his social media game. He's calmed down. He's calmed down, which I like. So hopefully he stays that way, and he learned his lesson. Shout outs. Super chats are on, by the way. Get your super chats in. Let me check out who's here in the live chat. We got Dawsey Chatham. And by the way, it's midnight right now, so I don't expect a big crowd. Well, I should, because last time I was on a Tuesday and it was midnight, and it was over like a good 150 in here. And we have is JD from NY still live? I think JD ended. I think Solid Monster is still live though. Someone will tell me. Are both JD and Solid Monster still live? Let me know. But thank you to those who did show up. We had Dawsey Chatham, Billy Smith, the 808 Keone, SWAT Fan 100. From the Danger Zone, we got Highway Dylan Danger. Dylan Danger. King of Waco Mundo. A new subscriber, Denisha Lane. Did I say it right? Denisha? Welcome, Miss Denisha. Jackson Lane. Not to be confused with Denisha. They're not related, I don't think. Nintendo Porn Company. Conspiracy. I also see Debit. Money. Debit Money Adams. From Browntown, Mr. Robert Brown. Good to see that. Is it Demith ASAP. Demith ASAP. I don't think I'm saying your name right at all. Please tell me how to say your name. Mr. Hightower, YouTube member, Mr. Hightower. Another YouTube member, Mr. Unfamiliar. See, all that green in the live chat makes me very happy. Mr. No Days Off. Excuse me, Mr. All Days Off. The opposite of No Days Off. TLB the Fly Guy. Some regulars. Christopher Carter, the Cerebral Assassin. Mr. Joseph Winters. I also see John Bill II. But the last one is going to go to Trill Flame. Trill Flame? Did I say it right? Trill Flame? Well, hopefully I did. Guys, thank you so much for making me a part of your day. If I don't say your name, please don't be offended. It's not because I hate you. I do want to go ahead and get to this particular episode, this particular review, for a very special moment that people are looking to get my thoughts on. And that, of course, is the retirement of Sting. And you know what? I want to start off with that. I'm not going to go in order. I'm just going to kind of go all over the place when it comes to my review. The big announcement coming out of this episode was Sting announcing to the world that his final match ever, literally his final match, a match that he can be proud of and legit retire, will be at AEW Revolution 2024. So the next pay-per-view after Full Gear. Wow. He came out, talked about his long career, wrestling greats like Dusty Rhodes and Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. Hulk Hogan got booed loudly. Ugh. And Ric Flair didn't. Interesting. Again, I'm not saying you can't choose either or. I just thought like, okay, Hulk Hogan got booed because he made a racist comment, but Ric Flair made a woman touch his junk. So I would have thought both of them would have gotten booed, but what do I know? Standards, right? He came out and he talked about how he had a great run here in AEW and how he didn't want to retire. He could always retire when he could always just stay, you know. But Tony Khan let him know you can retire whenever you want, at any point in time, right? He just decided, you know what? I'm about to be 65 years old. I'm getting to that point where, you know what, let me call it a day. And he said, my career will end. It will end next year. Revolution 2024. And the crowd respected it. Standing ovation for him. I thought it was a great promo. But ultimately, when it was over with, and I tweeted this, I said, say what you want about AEW and how they book the roster and how it's cold right now, because I just went on a rant about that. You cannot take away the legendary run, and I mean legendary run he has had here in AEW. This legacy run that Sting has had in AEW is easily one of the best booked runs I have ever seen for a legend. AEW knows how to use its legends. The people who are already established, AEW books them like fucking God. They booked them so good. Christian, Adam Copeland, Sting, all the big legends, AEW knows how to book them. I think Sting's run has been damn near perfect. Shoot, it might be perfect. And I thank AEW for bringing him in. Because the run after WWE in 2015, oh my God. That nearly killed his career. I mean that. And I don't just mean that literally, but figuratively. That nearly killed his career. It was that bad. AEW not only revitalized it, it saved it. So I thank All Elite Wrestling for being able to give Sting his closure. And since he's leaving, you know, that's another big name. That's another big name that AEW is going to have to work without. That's it. A lot of the big sales that they've done, the show it All In, Sting was on that card. If he's ending his career Revolution, end it the right way. I don't know where Revolution is going to be this year. Not this year, next year. I hope it's in a big building. Sting's retirement match should net you a good $20,000. So Tony needs to pick his buildings very carefully. Because there's no excuse why Sting's retirement match, why his retirement can't be in front of a big audience. A good $20,000. I'm just saying. But yeah, I was very proud to have been there live for his match against. Oh man, what it was 2 years ago in 2021. I think the Young Bucks, either the Young Bucks were in it or someone was in it. It was a wild match where Sting went through a table and then he no-sold it and he stood back up. Whatever match that was, that was great. I don't even think it was the Young Bucks. I think it was what match was that? Oh, it's leaving me. It was a great match with Darby Allin too. Oh, whatever. Whatever match it was. I was there live for one of Sting's matches and I loved it. It was great. So, at least I checked that off my bingo card. Enjoy him while he's here, y'all. We were blessed to even have him during this time. I loved it. Wish we could have gotten Sting versus Taker, but you can't have everything. You know what I mean? All right. That was the only noteworthy thing coming out of the show. That was the big news story. The rest of the card, I thought Pentagon Jr. or Penta El Zero Miedo versus Jay White was a very good match. But when it was over, I was like, why aren't we pushing Pentagon stronger? Like, he was over here in Houston. This is a very good city for wrestling. He was well adored. Everybody was doing the Zero Miedo chant. I should know, I was there. He was loud, like mega over. Him and Mystica were over. But when the match was over and he lost to Jay White, I was just kind of like, man, like, do more with him. Like, you're giving all of this attention to Jay White. Like, I wish he was going after MJF. And I know they're trying to make Jay White a legit opponent for MJF. They're giving the Bullet Club Gold a lot of attention. I don't hate Bullet Club Gold. I think they're a good group, but they have no business going for the World Championship. I'm sorry. Is Jay White a future world champ? Sure, but that's the future. Ain't nobody buying him beating MJF right now. And then you got fucking Juice Robinson getting on the microphone saying, I want the Dynamite Diamond Ring. Who cares about the Dynamite Diamond Ring? What has that done for anybody? Like, legit, how has that improved MJF's career? If anything, MJF is the one that puts that over. You got freaking Juice Robinson in there talking about the rings on his finger and then getting a TJ Maxx chant going. Again, like, the talent is fine. The story that they're telling is not compelling whatsoever. I do not care about Juice Robinson versus MJF. I do not care about Jay White versus MJF. I don't even care about this idea that we're going to get the Bullet Club Gold with MJF and the Acclaim potentially taking them on. I just don't care. I don't care. That's not compelling to me. It's just not. I'm looking forward to what could happen afterwards. Like, they had freaking Kenny Omega, and then of course they had Wardlow, both of them teasing a future match with MJF. Like, those two I want to see. Wardlow going out there absolutely obliterating Ryan Nemeth. Loved it. Putting the MJF mark on his wrist, pushing down Tony Schiavone. It was Tony Appreciation Night, by the way. You probably don't know about that, but it was. Pushing down Tony Schiavone and walking away a heel. And you're like, oh, give me that feud. I want to see that. Now that's going to be something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully we do that immediately afterwards. That's going to be a great match to see. And then you go from that good match to Hikaru Shida versus Emi Sakura. They do this video package where they say Emi Sakura has beaten Hikaru Shida 8 out of the 10 matches they had. So 8-2. And I'm sitting there going, I would care about this if Emi Sakura got more screen time. I don't see Emi Sakura a lot. You want to know why? Because I don't watch Rampage. I stopped watching Collision. But you know when you see Emi Sakura? On Rampage. I have no investment in her. And that sucks. Because I feel like I could be invested in her. Because she's a good talent. The match they had was a good match. Half the crowd was dead for it. Well, to be honest, there was a portion of the match that was kind of slow. But it was a good match. But we had no reason to invest in it because AEW gave us no reason to invest in Emi Sakura. So you have this championship match. Hikaru Shida's going out there. They're killing themselves to put on a great performance, and the match was good. But what came from this? Now, I think originally we were supposed to be doing Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida because they were setting up that feud before all this. Well, Britt Baker's not here. Britt Baker is attending to Adam Cole. So, and honestly, she probably needed this break because her back's been killing her any goddamn ways. So, that's good for her. Regardless, like, there's tons of women that we could be setting up against Hikaru Shida. What's Ruby Soho doing? We could be continuing a feud with her and Saraya. We need stories that are compelling. You can sit here and go, well, there was a story between Emi Sakura and Hikaru Shida. Yeah. But it wasn't compelling. And it wasn't compelling because we don't care about Emi Sakura enough to make it compelling. You can have all the best matches in the world. You can have all the best talent in the world. But if we don't care, if there isn't a reason for us to invest, it's just there. This felt like a filler match. Not me hating on it. It just felt like a filler match. It shouldn't have been, but it was good. It was just filler. There was an interview with Renee Young, Renee Paquette, and Adam Copeland. Adam Copeland was talking about Christian, how he came to AEW to finish his career with Christian. But unfortunately, Christian feels tired and secondary to Adam Copeland. And he's tired of living in his shadow. And of course, there's that whole storyline where it's like, I'm never going to fight Christian. That's my dude. I'm not going to fight my brother. I'm not going to fight my friend. They do this with all the brother family storylines. Oh, Taker talked about, I will never fight Kane. I'm not going to fight my brother. Rey Mysterio, I'm never going to fight my son. Now here's Edge. Adam, I'm never going to fight Christian. And eventually he will fight him. Eventually he will fight him. And it'll be a crazy match to see. But that's going to happen later. I don't see that match happening. I would have thought that was a match we would be setting up for Full Gear, but I feel like they're going to play the long game with that. So we're going to have to see. Not much else to say about it. Edge came out to talk to us after the show, and then he basically said, go Astros. Which, yes, go Astros. We don't like Rangers here unless they're Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers! Anyways, they did another comedy segment with Adam Cole, baby, Matt Bennett, and then, of course, Roderick Strong. Adam! They're just continuing to misuse and abuse Adam Cole. He had enough of it and left. And then he had to go get surgery. And so now Roderick Strong's like, okay, you know what? I have to be nice to MJF. I guess I gotta go be nice to him. Whoa. Don Callis had a ton of heat on him, as he should have. The heat on Don Callis is legit. It's legit. The heat that he has is great for Powerhouse Hobbs. It's great for Konosuke Takeshita. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they use that heat to put these two over. These are two legit main event players. Kyle Fletcher came out. He's like, hey, I'm going to prove myself when I beat Kenny Omega one-on-one. And we all knew that wasn't going to happen, but whatever. The match between him and Kenny Omega, him being Kyle Fletcher, the match between Kyle Fletcher and Kenny Omega was a really good match. Easily match of the night for Dynamite. Not matches for the event. The match of the event was Mystico versus Rocky Romero. But the actual Dynamite show, yeah, Kyle O'Reilly versus Kenny Omega was a great match. Freaking crowd was into it the entire time. But it's a Kenny Omega match. It's Kenny Omega. Of course the crowd's into it. And it's a singles match with Kenny Omega. I loved it. I enjoyed myself. But coming out of that, I'm just like, okay, Kyle Fletcher. They're really pushing Kyle Fletcher hard. You can tell he's one of Tony Khan's favorites, which is fine. But I don't see Kyle Fletcher as a main event player yet. It's like Kyle O'Reilly. I think Kyle O'Reilly is a fantastic wrestler. I don't think Kyle O'Reilly is a main event player. And they tried to push him as a main event player in NXT and Ring of Honor. He just didn't work out. He's not a main event player. I see the same thing with Kyle Fletcher. I think Kyle Fletcher is a great wrestler. I just don't see him as a personality I would put the world title on. Doesn't mean that you have to put the world title on him. I just don't think he is. God, this show was lacking star power. Jesus Christ. Lance Archer, who, by the way, I love Lance Archer. But, like, he squashed a guy that looked like Jungle Boy Jack Perry. What is it, Barrett Brown? All right, Lance Archer went out there and just completely destroyed him. Swerve was there via satellite, but he wasn't there. God, we were missing the star power. Nick Wayne had a segment with his mom, who probably will end up joining with Christian in the future, even though she was all like, why didn't you do it? Why did you corrupt my son? You corrected my son. I have a feeling that she'll be Mrs. Cage very soon, but we'll see where that goes. Christian showed up during the segment. Nick Wayne called him his real father. Damn, son. That stung. His real father. And Nick Wayne, well, should I call him Nick Cage? See what I did there? Nick walked outside the door. His mom was like, what happened to you? What did you do to my son? And then Nick went outside to meet Darby Allin, who whooped that ass. He whooped that trick. Whoop that trick. Yeah, whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. I like it. Whoop that. He whooped it. He whooped it real good. Whooped it real good. Sting showed up, helped Darby out, and whooped that trick. And yeah, basically that's what we're doing. So, what? Darby Allin and Sting versus Luchasaurus and Nick Wayne? Or Darby Allin and Sting versus Christian and Nick Wayne? Not too sure what we're doing. Probably Full Gear. We'll figure that out. They promoted Battle of the Belts. I don't care. Who still watches that show? Willow Nightingale versus Chris Statlander should not be a match on Battle of the Belts. That should be a match they should be setting up for Full Gear. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Tell me when I'm telling lies. And then the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal was, When I saw the people in this match, I'm like, what are we doing? The biggest stars in this match were the Hardy Boys. Matt and Jeff, as they should be. And then Max Caster with the Acclaim, of course. But when I saw the people in this match, I'm like, what? This is your main event. I like Daniel Garcia. I like Johnny TV, right? Johnny Mundo, John Morrison, Johnny Nitro, whatever. Dustin Rhodes, I like them. These are not main event players. This didn't feel like a main event. This felt like, all right, this is just a continuation of the feud between Jay White and MJF with Juice Robinson winning. As soon as I saw the participants, I'm like, ain't no way Juice Robinson's not winning this match. And then he did. And so you're like, all right, well, that match was not really worth the damn trouble. You could have put that match, honest to God, the match that should have closed the show was Mystico versus Rocky Romero. You should have just put that on as the main event. Because, I'm sorry, when they went off the air with Dynamite, they immediately went into Mystico and Rocky Romero. And I said to myself, why didn't you make that your main event? Because that felt like a match that deserved to be in the main event of a show. I mean, I know Mystico is not known here in America, but people still remember Sin Cara, right? So, like, the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royal felt like a buffer match to Mystico and Rocky Romero. I can't imagine having that match end a show. God. I'm sorry. Like, that was a very lackluster main event. And it's because I don't care about the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I don't. Does that make me a jerk? Am I an asshole that just doesn't care? I know a lot of people think I hate AEW right now. But I'm being real with you. Like, I thought this was a weak main event match. Am I an asshole? Yeah, y'all. Whatever. Juice Robinson wins. He's gonna fight MJF next week for the Diamond Ring, Diamond Ring, whatever. It'll probably beat MJF, and I won't care. AEW is just very cold right now, and it will probably remain cold for the rest of the year until something happens to get interest back. Right now, it ain't there. Like I said, I could probably skip reviewing Dynamite for the next 2 weeks and not miss anything. It's a very cold show right now. It's cold. Could it get good again? Sure. Do I think it'll be good again? Absolutely. I do believe in the future things will get better, but they need to fix some things real fucking quick, because God, like, you have the talent. Where are your stars? Yes, you lost Adam Cole. Yes, you lost CM Punk. Those are two big names, and I'm sorry. Britt Baker is off, but you still got Saraya. You had Toni Storm on the show in a vignette, but she wasn't on the show wrestling. You had, okay, Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander. You have Willow Nightingale. You have Sky Blue. You have Ruby Soho. Serena Deeb is back. Hopefully she's okay. But you have all these other women you could be showcasing, but you're not. And that's the problem. There's no depth to these women, to this women's division. There's no depth to it because you don't invest more time into it. You don't invest enough time into it. You know, no Jon Moxley, no Bryan Danielson, no Claudio, no BBC, no BCC, BBC. Pause. No BCC. No FTR. No Swerve. No Keith Lee. God, like, no Saraya. You had Kenny Omega, you had Sting, you had MJF. Thank you. But God damn, like, no Chris Jericho, which is good because you're selling his injury. The lack of star power on this show was very noticeable. Very. And AEW's got to do something to get that buzz back, because it's lacking right now. There is no buzz to AEW. Just kind of saying. But I'm pretty sure the AEW faithful are saying that I'm just hating on AEW because CM Punk is gone. All right. This is what I'm going to say to that. Let me end it on this note, because I know some people out there are just saying you're hating on this because CM Punk is gone, which is not true. I think the people who are watching me and know that I'm being fair and balanced know that I'm saying this stuff because I want AEW to be what AEW has become, the standard that it set for us, right? If you're saying that I have fallen out of love with AEW because CM Punk is gone, okay, let's say that's true. The only way for me to fall back in love with AEW is for AEW to create a star to replace CM Punk. Adam Copeland, I think, is a great name to come in and replace the role that CM Punk had. But is he the kind of person, the kind of talent right now that had me watching, like, willing to call through hellfire and brimstone to watch every single week? He's not. He's not. I love Edge. I really do. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. But he doesn't really make me want to watch every single week. I want to keep up with him. I'll tune in on YouTube. But CM Punk, he had me, okay, when I get home on every Saturday, I'm going to turn on Collision. Or if I missed it, I'm going to watch it on DVR. Punk had me wanting to watch the entire show. You need to find the next person to make me do that. If you don't have anybody, create somebody. I want that person that can fill that hole. And right now they don't have that. And hopefully they'll find it. But y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Live chat will let me know. Doesn't it really feel like people are disagreeing with me? I think a lot of people are agreeing. Ultra Shout 97 says, where was everyone? Where was everyone at tonight? Where was the star power? I don't know. The 808 Keone says TK is still recovering from Title Tuesday. Or the ass whooping that NXT gave him in the ratings. Wow. Shadow Star, AEW better make it worth it for Sting once Revolution comes. And I would love for them to have Darby all in to be his best, to be his last opponent. It probably should be Darby Allin. Denisha Lane says, I'm being fair. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Hogan is hated. Well, yeah. He kind of brought that on himself. You can't blame people for not being mad at Hogan. The interview with Dan Labata was a train wreck, apparently. Oh, it definitely was. It was bad. Pikachu Black, what's good, man? Panda Hat. I just got here. I'm sad to see Sting go, but if anyone deserves to go out with love, it's him. Absolutely. He's a legend. He's a legend. I initially thought Adam Copeland was the perfect replacement for CM Punk, but now it doesn't feel like, I thought Adam Copeland was going to be that dude, too. He's a big name, but he's not really doing much right now. The 808 Keone, AEW deserves criticism when they're not doing their best, no different than WWE, Impact, and Japan Pro Wrestling. I want AEW to be the product we all know it can be. Yeah, it'll get back there. It's just right now it's very cold, if I'm being honest with you. David Adams, I used SeatGeek for my Steelers game a couple of weeks ago. Did you use my promo code? Let me know. The show tonight was indeed lacking. The product overall is lacking. I'm just not feeling it right now. Okay, well, I'm glad I'm not the only person that feels that way. I appreciate those who are in agreement with me. Let me see here. AEW needs a brand refresh with a new GM and most importantly, a new booker. Or at least the illusion that there is a new booker, like a new head of creative position in kayfabe. No, they just need a new creative writer. They need someone with a different vision, because Tony, I feel like, is kind of just... I feel like he's burnt out. And it feels like he's burnt out. Penta can go, but he's not a top main event star. He should be. Pentagon Jr. is a main event player. That one, Swerve, Keith Lee, of course Darby, if they ever push him like it. Yeah, those are main event players. Konosuke Takeshita, Powerhouse Harps, those are main event players. Hulk Hogan keeps telling obvious lies in interviews. He's at this point, I think Hogan, he's lived in kayfabe so long, he doesn't remember what's a lie. You know, you ever get to a point where you told lies or told stories all your life, you now realize, oh man, like, I don't know what's a lie and what's true anymore. They be like that sometimes. Especially him. Especially Hogan, who's been on top forever. Modern day wrestling fans don't know how to pop. I am happy I grew up in the Attitude Era, and I've been around good fans when the recent shows I've been to, and know when to pop and boo and interact. Yeah, I just do it. At least you could say you were there when Sting announced his retirement. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I think we can all agree that AEW has hit a cold period, and it just needs to work through it. Tony feels overworked, honestly. He should share his booking duties. Yeah, he needs to spread the duties, honestly. He just... It's just not there right now. Y'all, let me get out of here. I'm tired. It's past midnight. Thank you for watching me. Hope you enjoyed what I had to say about my live experience. And let's see what happens. I could feel differently next week. But yeah, AEW is very cold right now. There isn't much going on. Let's see what happens. Maybe things will start picking up in the future. But in the meantime, that's just my thoughts. How do y'all feel? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you for making me a part of your day. As you file out, do other YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and Venmo. I love you guys. Please understand me when I criticize these companies. I'm not doing it because I want them to fail. I'm doing it because I want them to be better than what they are. So hopefully that comes across, or that came across in this review. And if it didn't, I'll work on it. But until next time, this is Alyx, just Alyx, signing out right here in Alyx's World. A place like this was and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
When you're when you're